got a mayor-elect. And so we know now that he is elected. We know that we have to ensure that we are positioning ourselves to be able to hold our dear brother and his, cabinet accountable for all of the things that we're seeing in our society and things that he promised he would do. And so, from your standpoint, we just want to hear from you. What are some of the things you are looking for, or expecting, or just, really hoping that this new administration will bring to the city of Chicago?
Yeah. Well, for me, this starts even before he was elected. I remember a few years back, I don't know if it was around 2016 or so, but when there were several movements happening where we would like show up at on Michigan Avenue and in the Magnificent Mile and do these marches to shut down the shopping districts on some of the holidays like Christmas and
Mm,
Thanksgiving. And the intention there was to create enough of a disruption to the status quo that
mm,
we would see responses from those who have money making noise to those who are in political power, because that's statistically that's who gets listened to. And so many
yes.
people were really upset about it and all this other stuff. But I went out there, it was a rainy, cold day, it was bundled up. And as I was out there marching, I had my bullhorn and there was another black man with his bullhorn, and we just like going back and forth, trading off with Chance. I didn't know who he was, but I was like, I'll take a picture with you. Come to find out that was Brandon Johnson. So
Mm,
my first place of meeting him was on the streets, doing the work with the people on the front lines of being somebody who is about rallying the people, working together.
yes.
I knew he was with the Chicago Teachers Union at the time, but I didn't know, again, didn't know his name. I was like, this is somebody who is really about something. And so
Hmm.
from that point, from this place of uh in the same way that we see people like Barack Obama, who we love Barack, not saying he's perfect, not saying that the administration or the policies were perfect, but from the idea of someone who has a grassroots community organizing background, someone who is used to hearing from and being accountable to the people rather than
Hmm.
just power. I mean,
Mm,
the people have power, but rather than the traditional institutions of scarce power, we're used to, or we're finally seeing some leadership in place that is used to working with the people and for the people. So from
hmm.
that perspective, I am really excited to see Brandon Johnson come in. I'm excited because it's another thing for you to have a background and everybody from that background doesn't want to support you. But he did get the
Mm,
support of the teachers union, right? He did get the support
mhm.
of local organizers, and he did not get the support of the Chicago police. Call it what it is,
Yes.
what the words say, your gifts will make room for you. And
Mm.
so when you have a history, when you have a legacy of accountability, I really do have high hopes.
What would be some of the wisdom you would offer to faith leaders and congregations to get engaged? Because I'm gonna be real honest with you, and I'm gonna shut up. A lot of folks talking about justice don't want it. My grandma used to say, "Everybody talking about heaven ain't going.
Uh,
Everybody talking about justice don't want it." And a lot of
uh-oh,
these
uh-oh.
churches are preaching and teaching this work of
Hmm.
justice, but behind closed doors, they are selling out and they are,
Yeah.
perpetuating the same evils we see in society. So, talk to the church today, Rev.
Let's face it, we want community. We want to be with people. And most of the time, we're drawn to a church, not necessarily because of a faith experience, but because of a community experience.
That's the
That's
key.
usually what gets people in the door. It's after we get in the door that we have the faith experiences, that we have these higher spiritual moments. But the first thing that happened was somebody invited us. And so,
Yes.
what what does it look like for our churches to do more than just try to get people to Easter service and a Christmas service?
Mm.
What does it look like for us to be engaging people with the neighborhood, to be embodied in our communities? And that the first way that people know us is for what we did for our community, what we did for our neighbor, how we loved our neighbor. And so
Yes.
when we're looking for that, and many of our churches are, we're trying to find the right thing to sign up for. We're trying to find How do we get people back in the church after the pandemic? We're trying to
Yes.
figure out a lot of stuff, and it's often based on what we knew from the past. But what I'm seeing, especially with younger generations, is that they're not drawn to individual leaders and figureheads. People are being drawn to mission. They're being drawn to the things that they
Mm.
believe in. And whether or not that happens in the church, they're going to go find it. So either we can try to make our church as pretty and wonderful and sparkly as possible, or we can go out. And I don't like to do binaries, but just follow me, right? We can go
Hmm.
out and we can begin to compel them to come, not
Yes.
because we said, come on in our doors, but because we went out and we made our neighborhood better, because we went out
Yes.
and we showed people how they could affect the things that are upsetting to them. Because
Yes.
we went out, we can give people a reason to be a part of our community because we're part of the communities that they care about. So I want us to
Mm.
use these opportunities to request the trainings from CRS, to engage our neighbors, to find out what's the thing that you care about. Maybe you don't necessarily see um, violence in your neighborhood, but there is a legacy of environmental impact that is right around you. Maybe you don't see how your particular alder person is, maybe, maybe have a great alder person, but there also might be an opportunity for you to engage your alder person to lobby for something that affects your neighbor in another part of the city. These are all ways that we are working together. We're one body of Christ,
Yes.
and I so love the embodiment of CRS as this network of churches and faith communities working together to affect change.